Whoever said that metal was dead must have not heard of these 5 bands, which is odd because they're all pretty popular. But anyway, here are my picks for metal's top acts in the year 2022. And I won't be including any legacy bands like Metallica, Megadeth, or Slipknot because even though they're still touring and selling albums and merch, etc., they're older bands. So my first criteria is that their first album had to come out in 2008 or later. As well, the band needs to have released multiple critically acclaimed albums and been on tours with legacy bands in their respective genre, with headlining being a bonus. Now, these are broad criteria, so this is one of the most subjective lists I've made on this channel so far. So I'd like to hear your top modern metal bands as well. Comment below who you think should be on this list, and let's get into it. Damn, I'll be honest, I just heard of these guys like a few weeks ago when they released Erebos, and they blew my face off, man. It was nuts. They have such an incredibly unique blend of death metal and hardcore, but it sure as hell isn't deathcore because all the songs don't sound the same. It definitely does have deathcore moments, but for every pinch harmonic breakdown, they have the rhythm, speed, melody, epic harmony, and sometimes knuckle-dragging sludge of death metal. They are truly unique, and I never thought I would enjoy this type of music, but it's utterly fantastic. Currently doing an autopsy on their previous releases, and literally all their shit bangs. And I can't wait to see what else they do in their career because Erebos immediately shot them over top of classic bands that I like Havoc and Warbringer when it comes to making this list. Recommended songs to get you started are Gorgon Sisters, Technologies of Death, and Megalius and Liana. Raise your hand if you love tech death. Well, I'm sure all of you raised your hands. Anyway, tech death is definitely the GOAT metal genre, and not many are doing it better in this day and age than IMPERA. These German beauties cannot stop releasing epic masterpieces that make you feel like you're flying through space at the speed of light. When tech death goes epic, it's unbeatable. Their most recent release, A Valediction, continues a string of critically and listener acclaimed masterpieces. They've never released a bad album, and I don't expect them to start now that former necrophagist guitarist Christian Munzer is ripping through phrases and scales at Mach 5 alongside Steven Krumer. And they may very well be the biggest band in death metal today, aside from Cannibal Corpse, and they headline almost every tour that they go on. IMPERA are already metal legends, and I expect them to keep cementing their legacy as the years go on. Recommended songs are When Stars Collide, Clandestine Stars, and Anti-Cosmic Overload. And of course, I have to mention their absolutely perfect cover of Lack of Comprehension. Absolute beauties. Let's head on to number 3. JINJER are straight up the top prog band in metal today, and I bet that triggers the shit out of you. So be it. They have so many different elements to their music, and a lot of it is due to Tatiana's jaw-dropping range and unique ability. And most prog acts really can't compete with it because they struggle to summon the swagger and groove that JINJER does almost seamlessly with each release. She could literally sing anything, and you can't say that about a lot of metal singers. People love to compare metal to other genres of music, but the truth is that a lot of metal vocalists don't have the skill to compare to mainstream talents like Sam Smith or Adele, but Tatiana is one of the lone exceptions to this. But of course, the skill of Roman, Eugene, and Vladislav cannot be understated. Notice how I'm not saying their last names because I can't pronounce them. While they are all incredibly jazz influenced, I feel like it must come from Roman mostly because he's been their lead guitarist for almost their whole existence. Songs like Pisces, I Speak Astronomy, and more recently Pearls and Swine really show off the groove and technicality that JINJER display like no other band in the metal scene, let alone prog. Recommended songs, I mean, there's so many, but 3 to really get you started on JINJER would be Pisces, Copycat, and Pearls and Swine off their latest release. The most underrated thing about death metal is its ability to combine gentle beauty that induces tears of awe with spine-crushing brutality. At least that's what I try to explain to normies who fail to understand this art form that you and I enjoy so thoroughly. And in my opinion, no band in death metal today portrays that combination better than Rivers of Nile. And now that Opeth has basically left all the elements of death metal behind, cry, don't cry, hold it in, hold it in, hold it in, don't cry. Rivers of Nile easily have taken their place as progressive death metal masters that take music to its awe-inspiring, jaw-dropping pinnacle. No one combines the elements of music into one complete package better than them, and I struggle to keep my shit together whenever I listen to Where Owls Know My Name. And it doesn't require crazy solos, intricate drum patterns, or insane phrasing that tries to fit as many notes as possible into the least amount of measures. It's subtle genius at its finest, just like Opeth. And their last album was, of course, the very first heaviest show in the universe album of the year. Recommended songs are Where Owls Know My Name, Sand Baptism, and Episode off their latest release. Rivers of Nile are definitely goats, but they haven't inspired my love of metal in the modern age anywhere near compared to this next band. Alright, take everything I said about Rivers of Nile, but add in the part about adding a bunch of notes into phrasing and measures, and boom, you've got Revocation. These guys are absolutely the most underrated band in metal today, and their long consecutive string of critically acclaimed fantastic albums is not talked about nearly enough. Dave Davidson is metal's top guitarist today, incorporating his schooling at Berklee School of Music, mainly in jazz theory, into death metal's multiple avenues of creation to create one of the most unique bands in metal today. If I had to compare them to a legendary band like I did with Rivers of Nile, it would be death. I'm dead serious. The spirit of Chuck lives on in Dave Davidson. And while Dave is the driving force of the band, he has made sure that he is surrounded on all sides by impeccable musicianship, with both Ash Pearson and former drummer Phil laying down some of the tightest and most epic drumming in the scene today. Not to mention that filthy bass work by Brett that adds such depth to the rest of the music. And the fact that Dave also performs vocals is mind-blowing, as he's also one of the best vocalists in death metal today. What an absolute beauty Dave is. And they've basically been my favorite band since I stumbled upon them in 2009, and they were basically the inspiration for this video because I just wanted an excuse to talk about Revocation because I haven't yet. I could go on forever, and I'm sure that doesn't come as a surprise to anyone who's seen the multiple posters that I have of them in this setup. Actually, I don't even think you guys have seen this one before. Some of my favorite songs by Revocation are Dismantle the Dictator, Arbiters of the Apocalypse, Labyrinth of Eyes, and of course Archfiend off their self-titled album. All of these bands are fantastic, and there's so many good bands in metal today that it was hard to really pick just 5, but these are the 5 that I find myself listening to the most when it comes to the modern era of metal. And again, I can't wait to hear what you guys think down below. Thank you so much for watching. You guys are fantastic. We will see you next week on the heaviest show in the universe. Long live metal.